Okay, now onto the rune Isa. Fortunately, this rune is actually pretty easy to pronounce. Wow, look at that! A rune that's easy to pronounce. Anyways, um, this rune represents ice and all the things that come with ice. Just like with the other rune, this rune can also be good or bad. A lot of people see it as bad, but that's not really necessarily all, the case. Ice can be, uh, in a spiritual and metaphorical sense, ice can freeze up. Uh, just it can freeze up anything. It can freeze up time. It can freeze up people. It can freeze up opportunities. But at the same time, ice can also create an environment of growth, learning, and also uh, stagnation for your enemies as well. If you use it wisely, the rune will, attune to you in a favorable way, as long as you see past the negativity. Yes, ice can, weigh us down. It can slow us down. It can make things come to a halt. It can break things. Uh, it can make things easier to break. But that isn't all bad either, you know. Ice can freeze um, freeze up your car, but at the same time, let's look at it as if the freezing of the car was like necessary. You know what I mean? Maybe something bad could have happened if you got in the car and drove, or something like that, for example. But my point is not all runes are simple as good, and just label them as good and bad. Runes can be both, and I think Issa and the other rune before is a really good example of that. Issa can help you ascend, or it can help you. It's like a line. You can go up or you can go down with it. With my experience with this rune, because I had some experiences with it. Well, it definitely slowed things down. That's for sure, and not in a really so good way. But some of it was good, some of it was bad. You know, for example, when I was homeless, uh, when I was homeless, um, the rune pretty much slowed down it slowed down the process, but at the same time, like it slowed down the process of being homeless. But at the same time, though, when I finally got aid from the gods, um, when I finally got aid, it also slowed that down as well. So, like for example, I was finally out of that hellhole, and I was going to another state. As I had to do some I had to use some runic magic to make that so, to make it manifest, if you will, and also ask the gods to help me out in my endeavor as well. And I'll talk later about in the other in the other about the other rune of Thula. I'll talk about that later, as how that helped me out a lot on that faithful day, I guess. But yeah, for example, there were there was when I was getting out of there finally, all of a sudden ice came upon the road, and it made the journey a lot it made the journey a lot slower, and made me feel a lot uncomfortable, because I thought I was gonna have to go back to that hellhole for the night because of the how icy the roads got. It was pretty bad, and I didn't want to go back to that hellhole, but I didn't want to wreck either. didn't need it, didn't want it, and then if you would have if we would have wrecked, then it would have been taken even longer to get out of that hellhole. And who's to say that, that if we wreck that, you know, um, something really bad, might have not happened. But that's the besides the point. I don't want people thinking that this rune is all negative and stuff like that. It's good and bad, It's negative. It can be negative and good. It just depends, really. Um, that's a really important lesson that people got to learn about the runes. Most most people don't really notice it, or they just don't really say anything about it. Is it can be good or bad. But as I was saying, with this rune, it's a very powerful rune. You can freeze your enemies. You can freeze up your landscape to make it more harder for your enemies to pull off bullshit maneuvers to fuck with you. For example, um, sorry for the cussing. I just realized that I cuss way too much there. But anyways, besides that, um, it can help you. It can help you like freeze up your enemies, but it can also freeze up your assets too. Like it can freeze up your allies. You know what I mean? Or your plans. Like if you're not careful with this rune, your plans will go haywire, as I had experienced, you know, with this rune. But like I said, with this rune comes duality. Ice can be, well, it can be. Okay, I had to stop the video because something was going on. But aside from that, this rune, it reminded me that this rune can oftentimes be interrupting in ways, like ice can be, for example, like ice on a road when you're trying to get to a certain destination, or ice, uh, like, for example, like early winter, for example, can, interrupt people's lives greatly. And it can impact lives good and bad. So that is something to keep in mind when you're using this rune, is it can be a very powerful rune so long as you look after it. Because if ice is left to its own devices, if you just let, the ice spread everywhere, it's going to freeze everything up. But if you keep your eye on the ice and control it as much as you can, nature is uncontrollable, but there are some things that we can do. If you try to control it to your best ability, it can be very favorable. I have noticed. So when it comes to this rune, it is a really it is a rune that can teach you about wisdom, about stagnant wisdom, wisdom that can come from icy terrains to stagnant ice, to stagnant possibilities, and like ice can kill things off, ice can also this rune of ice can also um, destroy parts of your life that you do not need anymore. It can freeze up and take with it things that are not necessary anymore. But I think that is all for have for this rune for today. Um, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I don't know why I couldn't say that. Probably has something to do with the Isa energies. But anyways, um, make sure to do that, and I'll see you guys all on the next one. Thank you very much.